My parents stole my $27,800 college fund to save my brother from prison. I left with 2 bags. 10 years later, they begged for more. I said no. After all that has happened over the last few months, I need to get this off my chest. Perhaps some of you will understand. Perhaps you will believe I am uncaring. Anyway, here it is. I am a 30-year-old male, although my narrative began when I was 20. My parents had 2 children, me and my brother Logan, who is 4 years older. From the moment I could form memories, it was evident who the favorite was. Logan could do no wrong in their eyes, even while he was doing everything wrong. Allow me to paint you a picture of my childhood. Logan obtained his first car at the age of 17, a brand new Honda Civic that his father co-signed for. When I reached 17, they gave me the keys to Logan's old beater, in which he had previously driven 95,000 miles and crashed twice. Logan wanted to play football, so they purchased him all the equipment, took him to every game, and had his jersey framed after the season. When I made honor roll 4 semesters in a row, my mother responded, "That's nice, honey," without glancing up from her phone. But the true difference was not in what they offered us. It was in what they excused. Logan started getting into trouble in middle school. Initially, minor offenses such as skipping class, speaking back to teachers, and being suspended were reported. Mom and Dad would march Logan into the principal's office as if he were the victim of a vast scheme. "He's just spirited," Mom said. "Boys will be boys," Dad would say. Meanwhile, I got grounded for a week because I neglected to take out the garbage. Logan truly got into his stride, being a complete screw-up in high school. He was busted with pot sophomore year, not just smoking it, but also selling it to freshmen in the school parking lot. Dad hired a lawyer and convinced the school board that Logan was simply making other children feel more at ease in a new situation. The lawyer charged $3,500. The arrest for vandalism occurred during junior year. Logan did not simply spray paint the other school's mascot. He broke into their trophy case and spray painted every trophy, then took photographs with his artwork and shared them on Instagram. The school system sought $9,500 in damages. Dad hired an even better lawyer for $6,000 and managed to get the sentence lowered to community service, which Logan never performed. But my personal favorite was the episode that nearly resulted to his expulsion senior year. Logan hosted a party while my parents were visiting my sick grandfather. Not just any party. He charged entrance, hired a DJ, and transformed our home into a nightclub. The neighbors contacted the cops after someone drove over their fence while attempting to park. When the cops arrived, they discovered 3 passed-out children, a flooded basement from someone breaking the water heater, and Logan passed out on the roof with no knowledge of how he got there. The property damage totaled approximately $14,000. Dad obtained a second mortgage to cover it. He barely graduated his senior year because he spent more time partying than studying. But my parents still threw him a lavish graduation party and boasted to everyone about how proud they were. They hired them the VFW Hall and invited 250 people to celebrate Logan's victory over his hurdles. I received a $20 Barnes & Noble gift card after I graduated with honors. Throughout this, I was grinding. I worked part-time at a grocery store, had a 3.9 GPA, and saved everything for college. See, my grandparents on my mother's side had set up education savings accounts for Logan and me when we were kids. Nothing much, but by the time I was 20, mine had grown to around $27,000. With the money I'd saved from work and several academic scholarships, I could afford to attend a good state school for computer technology. Logan's education fund had been depleted by his sophomore year of high school, having been spent on attorneys and court expenses. But that was fine with my parents because Logan wasn't going to college and would most likely work for Dad's construction company instead. What they didn't say was that Dad's construction company was barely surviving because Logan kept costing them contracts. It's difficult to preserve professional connections when your son shows up to job sites inebriated, has fights with subcontractors, and steals things to sell for drug money. Yes, that last portion came out during his second arrest in junior year, but I am getting ahead of myself. Allow me to tell you about the night that altered everything. It was March of my senior year. I'd just been accepted to state with a half-academic scholarship. I was over the moon. My hard effort was finally paying off. I planned to study computer science, leave this toxic house, and start something on my own. I returned home from my grocery store job about 10 p.m. I found my folks sitting at the kitchen table with Logan. He looked like hell. with bloodshot eyes, stubble, and the paleness that comes from 48 hours in county jail. This was his third DUI, and this time he had wrapped his vehicle around a telephone pole. Thank God he did not murder anyone. However, the car was totaled, and his blood alcohol level was nearly over the legal limit. Mom was crying, Dad was pacing, and Logan was sitting there with a stubborn expression on his face, as if the world owed him something. "We need to talk," Dad remarked upon seeing me. I sat down, still wearing my grocery store uniform, which smelled like the deli counter. "Logan's in some serious trouble," Dad said. "This third DUI, it's a felony. He's looking at real prison time unless we get him the best lawyer in the county." "Okay," I responded, unsure why this was including me. "How much does his lawyer charge?" Mom and Dad exchanged glances. That should have been my first warning. $30,000, Dad said quietly. The number struck me like a slap. $30,000, more than my entire college fund. "That's a lot," I said. "We don't have it." Mom lamented through tears. "The business is struggling. We've already mortgaged the house twice for Logan's other legal fees, and—" I prodded, though some sick part of me already knew where this was leading. Dad cleared his throat. "We need to use your college fund." The room fell silent, but for the hum of the refrigerator. I stared at them, waiting for the punchline. "Just kidding," or anything else that would signal this was a terrible joke. "My college fund," I said softly. "It's just temporary," Mom rushed to clarify. "Once Logan gets back on his feet, once the business picks up, we'll pay it back with interest. We promise." Logan eventually spoke up. "Come on, little brother. Family's got to stick together, right? Besides, you're smart. You'll figure out another way to pay for school. I'm looking at 8 years in prison if we don't fix this." I stared at this 23-year-old who had my DNA, had never worked for more than 4 months, had cost our family tens of thousands of dollars in legal bills and property damage, and was sitting there acting as if I owed him something. "No," I replied. Dad's face clouded. "Excuse me?" I said no. "That money is for my education. I've worked for 5 years saving every penny, maintained perfect grades, earned scholarships. Logan made his choices. I'm not paying for them. What happened next will be etched in my memory forever. My mother, the woman who reared me, stared me straight in the eyes and said, 'How can you be so selfish? Your brother needs help.'" "What about what I need?" I asked. "What about my future, my dreams?" "You'll figure it out," Dad dismissively stated. "You always do. Logan doesn't have your advantages." "What advantages? Being responsible, working hard, following the law?" Logan threw his fist upon the table. "God, you're such a self-righteous little prick. You think you're better than me because you get good grades and work at a grocery store? I think I'm better than you because I don't drive drunk and endanger innocent people. I told you." That was when Dad lost it. He stood up and shoved his finger into my face. "That money is in an account with your mother's name on it. We're going to use it whether you like it or not. Logan is family, and family takes care of family." "What am I then?" I inquired calmly. No one responded. The following morning, I went to the bank with Mom. She took out every cent of my education fund, $27,800. 5 years of my hard work, 5 years of hope for a better future, all gone in an instant. I asked Mom once more at the bank parking lot, "Are you sure about this?" She couldn't even look at me. "Logan needs us right now. You'll understand when you're older, Ethan." That afternoon, I went into my guidance counselor's office to withdraw my acceptance to state. I informed her that there had been a family financial emergency. She was devastated. She had worked hard to help me obtain those scholarships. When I arrived home, I went straight to my room and began packing. I did not have much. When you're saving every penny for education, 5 years of part-time work leaves little room for amassing possessions. Logan was in the living room, playing video games as if nothing had occurred. "Thanks, bro," he said without looking away from the tea. "I'll pay you back. I promise." I did not respond. Dad asked, "So, what's your plan now for school?" At dinner that night. "I'll figure it out," I answered, deflecting his comments back at him. Mom appeared uncomfortable. "Maybe you could take a gap year, save up again." "Sure," I replied. "I'll just save up another $30,000 while working at a grocery store for $8.50 an hour. Should only take about 6 years if I don't eat or pay rent." "Don't be dramatic," Dad said. That night, I made a decision that would shape the following decade of my life. I was tired of being the responsible party who got screwed over for being responsible. I had had enough of being an afterthought child. I was done with everything. I had approximately $800 in my checking account, which I had been saving for textbooks and dorm room supplies. It wasn't much, but it was enough for a one-way Greyhound ticket to San Francisco and possibly a month's survival if I was careful. I departed on a Tuesday morning while everyone was out. Mom was at her book group, Dad was at work, and Logan was most likely sleeping off another hangover. I packed everything that was important in 2 duffel bags, left my house key on my desk, and walked out of that house forever. I did not leave a note. I did not say farewell. I just disappeared. The first 2 years in San Francisco were the most difficult of my life. I couch surfed, lived in hostels, and slept in my car, a $1,000 Honda with 2,500 miles, when I couldn't afford anything else. That car, by the way, was a unique type of nightmare. The heater only worked if you hit the dashboard in the exact right spot. The passenger door had to be opened from the outside, and each time I started it, it produced the sound of a dying whale. But it was mine, and that was more than I could say for anything else in my life at the time. I worked every job imaginable, including dishwasher at a 24-hour diner, where the cook taught me more curse words in Spanish than I knew existed in English. Dog walker for tech bros who paid me $60 to walk their designer dogs while they worked from their $4,000 a month apartments. And delivery driver for a restaurant that only served $20 artisanal grilled cheese sandwiches to people too drunk to cook. I used to work 3 or 4 jobs at once just to finance a room in a house with 6 other people. My living environment had a shifting ensemble of personalities that would make a sitcom writer weep with delight. There was Derek, the aspiring musician who practiced his experimental jazz fusion at 3 a.m., and Lindsay, the graduate student who labeled every single item in the shared fridge with her name and the date, including individual baby carrots, and my personal favorite, Eric, who was convinced he was going to make a lot of money selling custom t-shirts with inspirational quotes he wrote himself. His bestseller, "Life is like a taco. You gotta hold it together or everything falls apart." He sold only 1 shirt, to his mother. But here's the thing about reaching rock bottom. When you're 20, you're still youthful enough to recover and desperate enough to put in more effort than others. During my lunch breaks and after work, I'd go to the public library and teach myself to write in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, and Java, using any free materials I could find online. I spent every spare time learning, creating small projects, failing, and starting over. After around 8 months, I obtained my first IT job as a technical support specialist for a restaurant software business. It earned $40,000 per year, which seemed like hitting the lottery after months of working the minimum pay. The firm was typical Silicon Valley craziness, with 30 workers crowded into an office space designed for 12, working 80-hour weeks on energy drinks and the promise of equity that could be worth something someday. The workplace fridge was always stocked with exactly 3 things: old yogurt, someone's leftover Thai cuisine that had developed sentience, and roughly 50 different sorts of kombucha that no one wanted to drink, but everyone pretended to enjoy. But I loved it. For the first time in my life, I was surrounded by people who valued knowledge and hard work over family ties and sob tales. My coworkers didn't mind that I grew up in Ohio or that my brother was a wreck. They cared if I could repair their server failures at 2 a.m. and yet show up the next morning with suggestions to improve the user interface. Blake, the CEO, had a propensity of holding emergency all-hands meetings at random times to discuss paradigm shifts and synergistic potential. Most of these encounters could have been conducted via email, but Blake was 28 and believed he was the next Steve Jobs. He wore the exact same black t-shirt every day. He claimed to own 35 identical shirts and insisted that our office required creative energy, which resulted in beanbags instead of seats and a broken ping pong table that served as our sole conference table. I absorbed everything. I learned about the business, the technology, and the client side. When the company's single developer left after 8 months, something about Blake's habit of changing the entire product plan every Tuesday, I offered to take over his projects. Even though I'd never produced commercial software before, I worked nights and weekends to educate myself complex programming concepts, examine the source, repair issues, and create new features. The CEO, Blake, a 28-year-old Stanford dropout, recognized my work. After about a year, he approached me and said, "I'm not sure what your background is, but you're the most motivated person I've ever met. How would you feel comfortable leading all of our technical development?" At the age of 22, I was appointed Chief Technology Officer of a 60-person company. That startup eventually failed. Most do. But by then, I had real-world experience and a strong network. My next job was with a more established company that developed mobile apps for enterprise clients. The salary was higher, the equity was more, and I was learning about aspects of the IT sector that I had never seen before. But the true opportunity arrived in 2019 when I was 26. I'd been following the proliferation of remote work tools and spotted something that everyone else seemed to be overlooking. All of these systems were focused on video conferences and texting, but no one was addressing the underlying issue of project cooperation among technical teams. In my spare time, I started developing a prototype for a platform that would combine code repositories, project management, real-time collaboration, and deployment tools into a unified experience. It was essentially attempting to replace 6 different tools that each development team was utilizing independently. As I worked on it, I realized I was onto something significant. In March 2020, I resigned my work and used my money to develop the MVP over the next 8 months. When I ran out of money, I freelanced during the day to cover the rent and coded at night. I lived on ramen and caffeine, slept maybe 4 hours per night, and was definitely not the finest company during those months. But by September 2020, I'd created something that worked. I named it DevStream. The initial version was rough, but it addressed a real issue. I contacted every developer I'd ever known and begged them to try it. Within a month, I had 300 users. Within 3 months, I had reached 3,000. By the end of 2020, I had 20,000 users and generated my first revenue. That's when venture capital firms began calling. I'll save you the details of fundraising. It's about as enjoyable as it sounds. But by April 2021, I'd secured $3 million in Series A funding. The timing was excellent. COVID struck. Remote work took off, and suddenly every organization in the world required better tools for remote teams. DevStream grew from 20,000 to 200,000 users in 8 months. By the end of 2021, we had 700,000 users, and I was hiring workers faster than I could train them. By 2022, we were generating $65 million in yearly income. By 2023, we were profitable, and I was receiving takeover proposals. I did not sell. DevStream was my baby, the thing I created from scratch when I had nothing. Instead, I led a Series B financing that valued the company at $500 million. And I, the child whose education fund was stolen to bail out his alcoholic sibling, was worth around $250 million on paper. But here's the thing about success. It doesn't feel like you expect it to when you're fantasizing about it from the bottom. It's pleasant, yes, but it largely feels like more labor and obligation. I was proud of what I had accomplished, but I was no longer doing it to impress my family. By that moment, they felt like characters from another person's life tale. This leads me to last month. I was in my downtown San Francisco office reviewing quarterly figures with my CFO when my assistant knocked on the door. "There's a call for you," she explained. "Someone claiming to be your mother." I hadn't communicated with my family in over 10 years, not one word. They had no idea where I was, what I was doing, or whether I was still alive. I'd changed my phone number, relocated several times, and started my adult life from scratch without them. "Tell her I'm not available," I said, but the calls continued coming every day for a week. Sometimes Mom, sometimes Dad, and even Logan himself. I disregarded them all. Then Forbes published a story titled 40 Under 40, The Dropout CEO, Revolutionizing Remote Work. They had done a full profile on me and DevStream, photos, background narrative, and the works. They mentioned that I was from a little town in Ohio, that I had dropped out of college with ambitions to relocate to San Francisco, and that I had developed a $500 million firm from scratch. The tale went viral among the tech community. Within 24 hours, it was widely disseminated on social media. That is how my family found me. The next morning, my assistant informed me that there were 3 people in the foyer who claimed to be my family and demanded to see me. I'll be honest, I was curious. It had been 10 years. What did they want? How did they look now? Had Logan finally matured up? Did my parents ever worry if they had made the correct decision? Send them up, I instructed her. 10 minutes later, my office door opened and my family entered. They clearly looked older. Dad had turned gray and gained weight. Mom had more wrinkles and was dressed in clothes that appeared to be from Target. Logan, too. Logan looked precisely like what he was, a 33-year-old man who had never had to mature, scruffy, out of shape, and dressed in pants and a crumpled button-down shirt that was most likely a last-minute attempt to make him look acceptable by his mother. They stood there marveling at my office, which had floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the bay, fine furniture, and walls covered in awards and patents. This was not the life of someone who had suddenly figured it out after losing his college fund. This was the life of someone who had achieved beyond their wildest expectations. "My God," Mom whispered, "is it entirely yours?" "It's my company," I responded, without moving from behind my desk. "What do you want?" Dad cleared his throat. "We have read the article. We had no idea you were performing this well." "You had no idea I was doing anything," I replied. "You never bothered to find out." "We tried," Mom replied hastily. "After you went, we attempted to locate you. We filed a missing persons report. We hired a private investigator." "For how long?" Silence. "How long were you looking for me?" I pressed. "About 10 months, Dad explained. The investigator said you'd probably surface when you were ready, and we couldn't afford to keep paying him." "Right. You could not afford it. I'm sure Logan would have needed the money for his next legal cost." Logan eventually spoke up. "Come on, man, that is not fair. We were really anxious about you." I laughed. Really laughed. "Are you worried about being sick, Logan? You thanked me for giving up my education cash and then proceeded to play video games. You were concerned about your next high, not me." The room became quiet again. Through the windows, I could see San Francisco bustling below us, with people going to work, constructing their lives, and pursuing their ambitions, just as I had. "We'd like to explain," Mom replied softly. "Explain what? How you stole my future to bail out your golden child? How you chose his comfort over my dreams? How you never once asked if I was okay with sacrificing my education for his legal fees?" "We were going to pay you back," Dad insisted. "When it's been almost 12 years, have you paid me back?" More silence. "How is Logan doing, by the way?" I inquired. "Did that expensive lawyer work out? Did he turn his life around, get sober, find a career?" I knew the answer from their expressions. Logan shifted uneasily. "I've had some setbacks, but I'm doing better now. I've been clean for 8 months." "Congratulations. What about employment?" "I'm between jobs right now." "For how long?" "About 10 months. "So you've been unemployed longer than you've been clean. That's progress, I guess." Mom looked like she was going to cry. "We know we made mistakes. We know we hurt you, but you're our son and we've missed you every single day." "He sure missed me so much that you gave up looking for me after 10 months? "We didn't know what else to do," she said. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city that had given me everything my family could not: opportunity, merit-based achievement, and people who appreciated what you contributed rather than who you were related to. "Why are you here?" I inquired without turning around. "We want to reconnect," Dad explained. "We want you back in our lives. We want to be a family again." I turned around and stared at them. These 3 people who had sculpted my life made me feel worthless and invisible, taught me that love was conditional, and that families had favorites. "What's the financial situation at home?" I asked her. Dad blinked. "What?" "Your finances. Logan's unemployed. You're both in your mid-60s. The construction business is probably struggling. What's your situation?" "We're managing," Mom remarked cautiously. "How's Logan's housing situation?" I inquired. "Still living with you?" "Temporarily," Logan mumbled. "How temporarily? 8 months, 2 years, 5 years?" "It's complicated," Dad explained. I nodded. "And you saw the Forbes article about me being worth $250 million and thought, finally, our ship has come in." "That's not why we're here," Mom answered, but she refused to meet my gaze. "Isn't it? You didn't wonder about me for 10 years, but a magazine mentions I'm wealthy, and suddenly you need to reconnect. You couldn't afford a private investigator to find your missing son, But you could afford plane tickets to San Francisco. When you discovered your missing son had money, Logan's rage flared. Some things never change. Look, we get it. You're successful now. You don't need us, but we're still your family. Are we? I asked. Because families don't steal from each other. Families don't abandon each other. Families don't choose favorites and leave the other kid to figure it out alone. We never abandoned you, Mom insisted. You took away my future for Logan's convenience. What would you call that? Dad stepped forward. We made a mistake. We know that now. But Logan was looking at prison time. And I was looking at a lost education. But only one of those things mattered to you. We thought you'd recover, Dad replied urgently. You were always so capable, so smart. We knew you'd be fine. I was fine. No thanks to you, but being fine and being family are two different things. The room fell silent save for the hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of traffic below. Finally, Mom played her final card. We love you. We've always loved you. We know we made mistakes, but you're our son. Doesn't that count for something? I scrutinized her expression, looking for authenticity, genuine guilt, and any hint that this was about more than money. What I witnessed was desperation. How much do you need? I inquired calmly. They all stared at each other. I'm sorry, Dad replied. You didn't come here just to reconnect. You came here because you need money. Logan's probably racked up more legal bills or medical bills or gambling debts. Your retirement savings are gone. The house is mortgaged. You're looking at bankruptcy or worse. So how much do you need? The silence went on forever. Logan broke first. Things have been rough since Dad's accident. What accident? He fell off a roof last year, Mom said. Hurt his back. He can't work construction anymore. Workers' comp isn't covering everything. And the medical bills. How much? I repeated. $100,000, Dad murmured. Between the medical debt, what we owe on the house, and Logan's legal fees from his last arrest. His last arrest? I thought he was clean. He is clean, Logan replied defensively. The arrest was from before. Something finally caught up with me. I walked back to my desk and sat down, 3 people staring at me with hope and desperation, waiting for me to cure their issues with my checkbook. Do you know what $100,000 is to me now? I was wondering. They shake their heads. It's about 8 hours of DevStream's revenue. It's what I spend on coffee for the office in 5 months. It's less than I paid for the watch I'm wearing. Their eyes brightened with optimism. But do you know what $30,000 was to me when I was 20? I spoke more. The hope began to evaporate. It was everything. It was my future. It was 5 years of my grandparents' love and sacrifice. It was my chance to become something more than the invisible kid from Ohio. And you gave it away without a second thought. We were desperate, Mom explained. So was I. But nobody cared about my desperation. I opened my laptop and looked at DevStream's bank accounts, which were dizzyingly large figures. Money I'd acquired by working 80-hour weeks, sleeping on friends' couches, and teaching myself skills that no school could have taught me. Anyway, I could write you a check right now that would solve all your problems, I explained. I could pay off your house, Logan's legal bills, Dad's medical debt, and give you enough left over to live comfortably for the rest of your lives. They held their breath. But I'm not going to. Logan was the first to erupt. Are you kidding me? We're your family. No, Logan. Families support each other. Families believe in each other. Families don't steal from each other to bail out the family screw-up for the 12th time. That was 12 years ago, he exclaimed. And what have you done in those 12 years? What have you built? What have you contributed? What have you learned from all those expensive lessons my college fund paid for? He had no response. I turned to my parents. Do you know what the worst part is? It's not that you took my money. Money can be replaced. It's that you never believed in me. You were so sure Logan was worth investing in, and I was just the responsible one who'd figure it out. You never stopped to consider what I might become if given the chance. We believe in you now, Mom replied through her tears. Now that it benefits you to believe in me. Now that I can write checks. But where was that belief when I was 20 and working 2 jobs to save for college? Where was it when I was getting straight A's while Logan was getting arrested? Dad tried once more. We can't change the past, but we can be a family going forward. I shake my head. No, we can't. because you haven't learned anything. You're not here because you're proud of what I've accomplished or because you've realized you were wrong. You're here because you need something from me." "What would it take?" Mom said frantically. "What would we have to do to earn your forgiveness?" I thought about it for a long time. Go back in time and choose differently. Believe in me when it mattered. Support my dreams instead of destroying them. Love me for who I was, not for what I could do for Logan. "We can't do that," she muttered. "No, you can't. Just like I can't pretend that the last 12 years of my life happened because you believed in me, instead of in spite of your lack of belief." I approached my office door and opened it. "I think we're done here." Logan made one final desperate play. "You know what? Maybe it's better this way. Maybe you're right to cut us out. You've turned into exactly the kind of selfish, cold person who puts money over family. I'm glad we took your college fund. You would have just turned into a jerk anyway." I smiled. Actually smiled. "Logan, I had nothing when you took that money. I slept in my car. I lived on ramen noodles. I worked 4 jobs just to afford a shared bedroom with 5 strangers. And I was still happier than I ever was living in that house with you. Because you got lucky with some stupid app?" He retorted. "No, because I got away from people who made me feel worthless. Success was just a bonus." They filed out slowly. Mom looked back from the doorway, tears running down her cheeks. "I hope someday you can forgive us," she continued. "I already have," I informed her. "But forgiveness doesn't mean trust, and it doesn't mean money." After they went, I stayed at my window for a long time, observing the city below. My assistant knocked and came inside. "How did it go?" she said kindly. She had worked for me for 3 years and had never seen me upset by anything. "Like I expected," I said. "They needed money, not a relationship." "I'm sorry." I returned to my work, reflecting on the firm I'd developed and the life I'd constructed from nothing. "Don't be," I replied. "I'm not." And it was 5 weeks ago. They tried contacting me a few more times, but I did not answer. Logan sent a lengthy email, which I erased without reading. Mom attempted contacting DevStream's customer service, which was quite astounding in its desperation. Update: It's been 3 months since I posted this, and I didn't anticipate it to go so popular. Thank you to everyone who submitted their personal family experiences. It made me realize that I wasn't the only one who had gone through anything similar. A few folks requested an update, so here's what occurred. Logan was detained again last month on another DUI and possession charges. Apparently, he had been using again for months, not just 8, as he stated. Mom called DevStream's main line and begged me for assistance with another lawyer. I did not take the call. Dad's medical bills have gotten worse. My cousin, Mom's nephew, contacted me on Facebook to inform me that Dad might lose the house. He wasn't asking for money, he just wanted me to know. I appreciate the heads up, but my response remains no. The hardest aspect is that certain members of my extended family believe I am uncaring. My aunt wrote on Facebook about blood is thicker than water and how family should always come first. Several cousins have unfriended me on social media, but here's what I've discovered. The individuals who are upset with me for not helping are the same ones who never helped me when I needed it. They were all aware of how my family had treated me growing up. They all watched Logan have chance after chance while I went unnoticed. None of them spoke up at the time, and none of them volunteered to help when I was sleeping in my car at the age of 20. It's easy to be generous with other people's money and forgiveness. The good news is that breaking ties totally has been freeing. I changed my phone number, relocated to a new apartment, and informed anyone who inquired that I was finished with that phase of my life. "You're more of an ATM than a son," Dad said. After 16 months of $2,200 payments, I canceled the transfer. 28 days later, the bank called him first. I learned out I wasn't invited to my niece's 9th birthday celebration via Instagram. Amanda had shared a video of Lily blowing out candles while surrounded by cousins, aunts, uncles, and half the neighborhood. Balloons, a bounce house, and a table laden with presents. Everyone was present except for me. I checked my mails, nothing. No invitation, no... "Sorry, we forgot you." I called Amanda. "Ryan, hello, what's up? I just seen the party on Instagram. Looks like fun." Pause. "Oh yeah. I didn't get an invite." Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Limited space and… Amanda, you've got a bounce house. There are 25 persons there. It just turned out this way. Do not make it a thing. Do not make it a thing. Put Dad on. Ryan, he's… Put him on. Muffled voices. Then Dad slightly mumbled from his drinking. Ryan, hello friend. Great party. You should see. Why was I not invited? What? It's Lily's birthday. Why was I not invited? Oh, well, you know, Amanda had to make tough choices. I am her brother, Lily's uncle. Yes, but let us be honest here. You aren't truly family in the sense that matters for these things. Something chilly settled into my chest. What does that mean? It indicates you are more of a resource, a wallet. You aid us when we need it, but you're not truly involved in day-to-day family life. The wallet. Dad, I have been paying your mortgage for 16 months, and we appreciate that, but that doesn't mean you get a say in family events. I couldn't talk. Look, don't take anything personally. If you help us financially, we can keep the family going. It works. He hung up. 16 months ago, Dad lost his job. The manufacturing plant is closed. At 56, he couldn't find anything comparable to what he was earning. He called me, his voice shaking. Ryan, I'm not sure what to do. The mortgage costs $20 to $200 each month. I am going to lose my house, the home where Mom died 4 years ago. I'll help, I said quickly. I'll cover it until you get back on your feet. I was earning $68,000 as a software developer. I could make it if I cut back. So I did. Cheaper apartment, no dining out. I drove my 10-year-old Honda into the ground. Every month, $2,200. Direct deposit. Never late. Initially, he would text, "Thank you." Then the updates ceased. Texts become demands. Could you send it earlier this month? Payment is late. I need it by the 3rd. I became an ATM, not a son. My phone vibrated. Aunt Karen sent a text. I'm sorry Karen couldn't make it to the celebration. Lily inquired about you. Lily inquired about me. They did not invite me, but she noticed. I called Karen. Hey, Ryan. How are you? Why was I not invited? Oh, well, Amanda had to keep the guest list manageable. Karen, there were 25 people there. Well, yes, but close family. And I'm her brother. Silence. Ryan, we're okay without you around. These events are regarding the core family. You're preoccupied with your own life regardless. We are fine without you. I pay Dad's mortgage, I explained quietly. And we appreciate it, but that doesn't imply you have to attend every family function. When was the last time I got invited to something? Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Amanda's birthday. She didn't respond. What if I stopped paying tomorrow? Will I be suddenly invited? That's not fair. Answer the question. Ryan, your father needs the money. You cannot just… So that's a no. If that's how you feel, maybe you shouldn't attend family occasions. We don't need the negative. She hung up. I sat there for a while. Then I opened my banking app and discovered the regular payment of $2,200, which is scheduled for the 1st of each month. I stared at my phone. Another Instagram story. Lily cut the cake. Dad laughs in the background. I'm having a fantastic time at a party I sponsored but wasn't invited to in a property I'd paid for. While they said I wasn't family, I canceled the recurring payment and texted Dad. Effective immediately, I'm discontinuing mortgage payments. You have 28 days to make alternate arrangements. I blocked his phone number. Amanda's been blocked. Karen's been blocked. I deleted Instagram. I wasn't family. I was only a wallet. And the wallet was closed. The first week seemed unusual. I felt relieved rather than sorry, as I had anticipated to. My bank account suddenly had an additional $20,200. I'd grown accustomed to being broke that having money seemed weird. Jake, a coworker, observed. You seem lighter. Made some changes. Good ones. Time will tell. My phone remained quiet. They probably had not noticed yet. Payment was not due for 3 weeks. On day 8, an unknown number contacted, leaving a voicemail from Amanda on a friend's phone. What the hell, Ryan? Dad says you canceled the payment. You cannot do that. He's about to lose his house. This is insane. I removed it. Another call. Karen, this time with a different phone number. Ryan, this is cruel. Your father is beside himself. Your mother would be ashamed. That is dumb. However, I still erased it. They tried everything. Work numbers, friends' phones, and blocked numbers. Every time it goes to voicemail. Every time delete. Being someone's wallet means you only matter when the money stops. On day 12, Dad sent an email that was long, rambling, and contained elements of guilt, anger, and desperate pleading. I reared and nourished you, and now you're repaying me. Your mom would be heartbroken. This house is the final remnant of her. You are taking it away from Lily. How can you be so selfish? I responded with one line. You said I wasn't family. I am simply a wallet. The wallet is closed. His response came quickly. I didn't mean it that way. I was drinking. You're being sensitive. Sensitive. Mom used the same word when I pointed out how differently they treated me and Amanda. I did not respond. On day 13, they went nuclear, a Facebook post by Amanda public. Some people put money before family. My brother Ryan has decided to cease assisting our father. Dad is ready to lose his house, the place our mother died in, because Ryan is upset about not being invited to one party. Here's what selfishness looks like. Comments came in. How horrible. Your poor father. Aunt Karen shared it. Heartbroken. Family should help family, not desert them due to hurt feelings. No mention of 16 months of payments, $35,000, or merely a wallet. Jake saw it. I called immediately. Is this real, dude? Yeah. You've been paying his mortgage for 16 months and they didn't invite you to a birthday party, among other things. Would you like me to comment? Set the record straight? No. Let them have their story. Everyone thinks you're the bad guy. Everyone who matters already knew I was invisible. On day 20, a registered letter arrived from a lawyer. Dad threatened to sue for breach of verbal contract. I called the number. Henderson and Cole Law Offices. I received a cease and desist regarding Ryan Bennett. Ah, yes. Your father claims that you made a binding pledge. Do you have anything written? No. Then there is no contract. You were assisting. You're going to stop. That is your right. Silence. I'll relay your response. The letter landed in the garbage. Day 26. Payment was due in 2 days. My phone rang non-stop. Unknown numerals. All hours. The voicemails became desperate. Amanda. Lily is crying. She does not want Grandpa to lose his home. Do you truly want to be the uncle who did this? Dad, I apologize. Okay, I apologize for what I said. Please. The bank is calling. Please, Ryan. Sorry about what I said. Not I was wrong. Just apologizing. He spoke the silent portion aloud. I removed it. Day 28. I awoke to 14 missed calls. I made coffee. Went to work. At 10:45 a.m., my inbox chimed with a snapshot of a message attached to Dad's door. Notice of default. Foreclosure procedures will begin in 28 days. A text message from an unknown number appeared below it. Are you happy now? I stared at the photo for a long time, thinking about 16 months of payments, being labeled a wallet, and being excluded while I kept their life going. I typed the word yes and blocked the number. I was done apologizing for setting boundaries. I'm done apologizing for refusing to be used. Their emergency was no longer my concern. I was finally free. The foreclosure notification granted them 28 days. I gave them silence. No responses, no bargaining, no second chances. For the first time in 16 months, I began living my own life. The extra $2,200 per month was like inhaling after being submerged. I moved into a better apartment with 1 bedroom, natural light, and a dishwasher. I bought new garments that did not come from the bargain rack. I went out to dinner without checking my financial account first. These were minor details, yet they had a significant impact. Jake sensed a change. You look different, happier. I feel lighter, like I've been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. Is there any word from them? They keep trying. Every day brings new numbers. I block them all. Do you feel guilty? I thought about it, really thought about it. No, I feel free. 3 weeks following the foreclosure notice, the harassment escalated. My work email. Someone had found it. Amanda. Ryan, I am emailing because you have banned everything else. Please. Dad is desperate. The bank has threatened eviction. We have 3 weeks. Lily doesn't understand why Uncle Ryan isn't helping Grandpa anymore. She cries every night. Is this truly who you want to be? I forwarded it to HR and described the circumstances. They prohibited all external emails from her address. Then Dad sent me a letter via physical mail to my new residence. Handwritten, Ryan, I am begging you. I was mistaken. I uttered some nasty things. I took you for granted. I apologize. Please don't let my blunders ruin anything. This is your mom's residence, her memory. Please. I read it once and then stored it in a drawer. Nor discarded, nor responded. Simply stored. Perhaps there is some evidence. Or closure. I wasn't certain yet. Things started to go weird around the 5th week. An unknown number called. I was ready to decline when something compelled me to answer. Ryan, it's Lily. My niece, 9 years old. On the phone. My heart has stopped. Lily, how did you... I took Mom's phone. She does not know. Her voice was small and terrified. Uncle Ryan, why don't you help Grandpa? Did I do something wrong? The guilt struck like a truck. No, Lily, you did not do anything wrong. Then why? Mom claims you're being mean, that you no longer care about your family. I closed my eyes. Of course, they had militarized her. Lily, this is complicated. It's adult stuff between me and your grandfather. But he is about to lose his home. Mom believes it is your fault. Did your mother tell you why? She said you're mad about my birthday party, that you're upset you weren't invited. Did she tell you I had been paying Grandpa's mortgage for a year and 4 months? Silence. What is a mortgage? The money is for the house. I've been paying so Grandpa can continue to live there. Have you? Yeah, $2,200 per month. That's a lot. It is. And do you know what Grandpa told me? He said I wasn't actually family, that I am just a wallet. Do you understand what that means? A wallet is where you keep money. Right. He stated I am just good for money, not for a birthday, Christmas, or Thanksgiving. Just money. That's mean. It was. And it stung. So, I stopped paying. Lily was silent back then. I apologize, Uncle Ryan. I didn't know. It is not your fault, sweetheart. None of this is your fault. I wanted you to attend my party. I asked Mom why you weren't present. She said you were busy. My chest tightened. I was not busy. I was not invited. That's not fair. No, it's not. I'm sorry. Thank you, Lily. That means a lot. Could you help Grandpa anyway, even if he was mean? I exhaled. Lily, sometimes grown-ups have to make difficult decisions. Your grandpa needs to figure this out himself. She sniffled. Okay. I love you, Uncle Ryan. I love you too, Lily. She hung up. I sat there, feeling like the worst person ever. Not because I was wrong, but because they had placed a 9-year-old in the middle of it. Amanda called again 4 minutes later, using the same number. I responded. How dare you? Her voice trembled with wrath. How dare you tell Lily that Dad referred to you as a wallet? She's 9 years old. You got her on the phone, Amanda. You are the one using her as a weapon. She wants to speak to you. You told her it was my fault her grandfather was losing his home. You put that burden on a 9-year-old. It's your fault. You're the one that stopped paying after 16 months of being excluded from everything while keeping our life going. After Dad literally told you you are not family. He didn't mean it. He meant every word. Aunt Karen did as well. So did you when you didn't ask me to Lily's party. One party. Ryan, you are killing our family over a single party. And it was not a single party. It was at every party, holiday, and family gathering for years. I simply didn't notice since I was too busy being your ATM. She was crying now. We need the money. Dad needs it. Please. Amanda, you don't need money. You should work out your own life. In 3 weeks. We have 3 weeks before the bank takes the house. Then you better spend those 3 weeks figuring it out instead of calling me. I hung up. I've also blocked that number. The next day, Jake called me. Dude, you need to see this. He provided me a link. There's a GoFundMe. Help save a family's home. Amanda's name. Dad's photo. The house. My father is a dedicated man who lost his job due to circumstances beyond his control. He is striving to maintain the family home where his late wife lived and where his granddaughter celebrates birthdays. The bank is threatening to foreclose. We're appealing for your aid to preserving this important family memory. Goal, $22,000, current amount raised, $320. I read the description. There was no mention of 16 months of payments from me. There was no mention of the $35,000 I had already provided them. A hardworking man as well as struggling family. The comments drew me in. Praying for you. Family is everything. I gave what I could. God bless. I showed Jake. They're crowdfunding without mentioning you paid for a year and 4 months. Certainly not. That does not match their story. Do you intend to comment? Set the record straight? I thought about it. About disclosing everything, including receipts, bank statements, and even screenshots of a single wallet. Then I remembered what my mother used to say. The truth does not have to be loud. It simply needs to be true. No, I replied. Let them raise their money. Or not. In any case, that was not my problem. The GoFundMe campaign gathered traction within their church community. By the end of the week, they had raised $3,200 out of a total of $22,000 needed. With 1 week to foreclosure, I saw the number progressively increase. I watched the comments of support. Amanda shared updates, thanking everyone for their contributions. It was not going to be enough, not even close, and it was no longer my problem. Then, 2 days before the foreclosure date, something unexpected occurred. A message request on LinkedIn from Melissa Reed. I didn't recognize the name, but something about Reed caught my attention. I opened it. Hello, Ryan. You don't know me, but I am your father's cousin. I live in Portland. I learned about the house predicament through family gossip. Can we speak? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I accepted the request and said, sure. Melissa was in her mid-50s, dressed professionally, and had gentle eyes that reminded me of my mother. Thank you for meeting me, she replied. I understand this must seem unusual. I have never heard Dad mention you. We aren't close. I haven't been for years. There was a disagreement. She stirred the coffee. Ryan, I'd want to hear your perspective. I have heard the family version. I'd want to hear yours, so I told her everything. The 16-month payment plan, the birthday party, the Just a Wallet chat, Aunt Karen's "We're fine without you," the harassment, and Lily's phone call. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she gave a hesitant nod. That sounds exactly like my cousin Thomas and his sister Karen. Are you not surprised? Not even a little. They did something similar to me 18 years ago, borrowed funds for a business venture, promised to repay me. When I sought for it after 2 years, they accused me of being greedy and not supporting my family. I never saw a penny. How much? $13,000. Back then, that was all I had saved. I felt something settle. Validation. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Was not cruel. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry it's happening to you, she said. She took out her phone. I noticed the GoFundMe. Read the description. They left out some important details. They left out all the details. I figured, Ryan, I'd want to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest. Do you want them to lose their house? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I do not want Lily to suffer, but Dad, Amanda, and Karen need to realize that people are not ATMs, that you cannot treat someone as garbage and expect them to continue giving. That's fair, she remarked with a small smile. For what it's worth, I believe you did the correct thing. Setting boundaries is not unkind. It is healthy. Tell that to the Facebook comments. Facebook comments are left by persons who do not know the whole issue. You know the truth. That is what matters. We talked for another hour about family, limits, and going forward. When we stood up to depart, she hugged me. If you need anything, someone to talk to, someone who understands, call me. You are not alone. Driving home, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Melissa didn't solve anything. She simply made someone understand. The following day was the foreclosure deadline. I awoke and checked my phone. There are no calls or texts, just silence. The GoFundMe had raised $5,400. Not enough. Not even close. My doorbell rang at 2:30 p.m. I opened it and found Aunt Karen standing there. Ryan, we need to talk. I glanced at Aunt Karen on my porch. She appeared exhausted with little makeup on, her hair pulled back messily and a crumpled sweatshirt. Can I come inside? No. Ryan, please, 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Right here. The foreclosure is today at 2:30. We are $5,000 short. Please. That's all we need. No. Ryan, you said you were okay without me, that I was not part of the main family. Why would you want money from someone who isn't related? I was angry. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did. For years. Her eyes flooded with tears. One remark at a party. Are you going to destroy his life over this? It was not a single comment. It was 16 months of being treated like an ATM and excluded from everything. We thought you were busy. You thought I was convenient, there when you needed money, invisible when you didn't. Please, I plead, 5,000. I will pay you back. I do not want your money. I want you to understand that people are not wallets. Are you just going to let him lose everything? No, you are. Because you spent a month harassing me rather than finding solutions. She stood there crying. I hope you can live with yourself. I can you? She departed. My hand shook as I closed the door, not from guilt, but from finally establishing a barrier. At 2:45 p.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I'm crying on the other end. Then Dad's voice. They took it. The house. It's gone. I said nothing. Ryan, please, we can solve this if you just… No. I'm your father. You are the man who called me a wallet, who told me I'm not family. I was inebriated. I am sorry. You're sorry you said it out loud, not that you meant it? That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, but that is no longer my problem. I hung up. I blocked the number. Then I opened a bottle of decent wine and felt no remorse. Melissa sent me a message 2 weeks later. I saw on Facebook that Amanda is hosting a new start party this weekend. I thought you should know. A party? Of course. Can you send me the address on time? She sent it within an hour, Saturday at 2 p.m. Family festivity, new beginnings. Melissa informed me that Dad had purchased a new car 3 months ago, which he had financed at an absurdly high interest rate, could not afford the payments. The repossession company was looking for it. Dad had hidden it at Amanda's. On Saturday, that repo vehicle was supposed to show up. I didn't cause it. I just knew it was coming. And I made sure I got a front row seat. Saturday at 1:45 p.m., I parked down the street, far enough to remain hidden, but close enough to observe everything. Cars lined the driveway, balloons on the mailbox. People are walking in carrying dishes. At 2:47 p.m., a flatbed tow truck entered the roadway. I sat up straighter. The truck arrived at Amanda's residence. The driver examined his tablet, then stepped out and knocked. Amanda answered. Her face changed from friendly to scared. She made a call inside. Dad appeared and started yelling. People came out. The party ended. The driver displayed papers. Dad attempted to block the automobile. Amanda was on the phone. Karen came out yelling. The motorist didn't care. He had documentation. Dad's black Charger, the one he bought to feel youthful, began rolling onto the flatbed. Dad attempted to stop it. Couldn't. Just stood there as his car drove away in front of everyone at their fresh start gathering. Amanda was crying. Karen was yelling. Dad seemed defeated. Partygoers began leaving rapidly and awkwardly. Some people filmed with their phones. By dinner time, this would have gone viral on Facebook. The truck pulled away. Guests scattered. I saw Amanda standing in her empty driveway, looking devastated. I started the car and headed home. Jake called an hour later. Have you seen Facebook? No. What happened? This is your sister's celebration. The repossession vehicle stole your father's car in the middle of the party. It's everywhere. Wow. Ryan, did you know? I knew it was being repossessed. Not exactly when. That's savage. That's consequences. And people commented asking why he had a new automobile when he couldn't afford his mortgage. Good. Let them ask. That night, videos surfaced from various angles. The remarks shifted. Wait, he purchased a new car. If he couldn't afford his mortgage, why would he finance a Charger? Something does not add up. Amanda posted, My father is going through a difficult period. Please respect our privacy. But the questions kept coming. Where is Ryan? Haven't seen him at family events. Didn't Ryan aid them financially? The story was cracking. I did not make a comment. They did not explain. Just watched. Melissa sent a text on Sunday morning. Your father is currently raising money for the car. Another GoFundMe. I looked it up. Help Thomas reclaim his car. Wrongful repossession. Goal, $7,000. The amount raised is zero. Comments. Haven't you just lost your house? If Ryan paid your mortgage, where did the money go? Why is this family constantly asking for handouts? The truth was out, not because I said it, but because they couldn't get their story straight. I closed the application. I blocked Facebook. I did not need to see it anymore. I made my point without saying anything. Finally, I was free. 3 weeks after the repo truck event, my life had returned to something approximating serenity. No more calls from unknown numbers. No more desperate emails. No more family members are coming up at my door. They had finally received the message. I had started treatment. I did not feel guilty, but Jake said it would help me digest everything. Dr. Ellis was in her 50s with kind eyes and no tolerance for BS. So, your family treated you like an ATM for 16 months, she explained during our third session. And when you stopped paying, they made you the villain. Pretty much. How does this make you feel? Free. Is that wrong? She smiled. Not at all. Setting boundaries is not unkind. It is healthy. Working conditions improved as well. Without the continual stress of paying someone else's mortgage, I could concentrate. Was promoted to senior developer. There was also a raise. Jake brought me out to celebrate. Look at you. New apartment, promotion, and actual savings. You're thriving. Feels weird, like I'm waiting for something to go wrong. That's known as trauma response. You spent 16 months on survival mode. It takes time to adjust to stability. On Saturday morning, my doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and saw Lily with a woman I didn't recognize. I opened the door. Hey, Uncle Ryan! Lily's face brightened up. The woman stepped forward. Hello, this is Hannah Lewis, Amanda's buddy. Lily requested me to bring her. She was insistent. That's okay. Come in. Hannah waited in the car. Lily looked to me with determination. I needed to see you. Does your mother know you are here? No, she'd be upset, but I don't mind. I sat across from her. What's going on, Lily? I apologize for everything, for what they told you, for manipulating me to make you unhappy. Lily, you are 9. None of this is your fault, but I was mean to you on the phone. Hannah told me what really happened, how you paid for Grandpa's house, how they didn't invite you to my party, how Grandpa called you a wallet. Lily, your grandfather and your mother made decisions. These choices had effects. That is not abandonment. Rather, it is a set of boundaries. What are the boundaries? It's when you decide what you will and won't accept from people, even family. She nodded slowly. That makes sense. Can I still see you if Mom says no? My chest tightened. Lily, I don't want to make things harder for you at home. It is already hard. Mom and Grandpa are fighting all the time now. About money. About the house. About you. She looked at me with eyes that were much older than 9. Mom says you are the reason everything went apart, but I believe things were always falling apart. You simply quit holding it together from the mouths of children. Do you know you're pretty smart? She smiled. Can we do something? Just us, like grab ice cream? Okay, but I'll text your mother afterwards so she knows where you are. She's going to yell probably, but that's on me, not you. We spent an hour at the ice cream shop near my place. We simply talked about school, her classmates, and her drawings. Before she departed, Lily hugged me. Thank you for not giving up on me. I could never give up on you, kid. After they had left, I texted Amanda. Lily came to see me today. She is safe. She wanted to talk. I am open to discussing boundaries for future interaction. She responded an hour later. How dare you see her behind my back? Stay away from my daughter. I did not respond. I just shared the message to Hannah with a note. Thank you for bringing her. Please let me know if Lily needs anything. 8 months later, my life had drastically changed. New flat with 2 bedrooms presently. Better vehicle. Actual savings account. I dated. Nothing serious, but I was open to it. It turns out that when you're not financially and emotionally tired, you have more energy for others. Lily and I texted periodically. Amanda disliked it, but she had given up trying to avoid it. Dad had moved in with Amanda. Melissa described the situation as heated, with a lot of squabbling over money. I met Karen at the grocery store one day. We established eye contact. She hurriedly glanced away, grabbed her cart, and fled. There was no confrontation, no apologies, just avoidance, and that was okay. I didn't need her apologies. I had already moved on. Jake and I went to dinner one Friday. You know what is wild, this, he stated. 1 year ago, you were broke, stressed, and unhappy. Now look at you. The best decision I've ever made was to cut them off. Setting boundaries. There is a difference. He raised his glass. To boundaries. To boundaries, I repeated. That night, I received a text from an unknown number. Hi, Ryan. This is Dad. I know you have blocked me. Therefore, I am using a friend's phone. I wanted to apologize. I sincerely apologize for everything. You were correct. I took you for granted. They treated you like a pocketbook. I was wrong. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond and accept the apologies, but another part, which had learned that people do not change just because they apologize, knew better. I sent one message. I appreciate your apology, but I am not ready to restore this relationship. Maybe someday, but not today. I pressed send. Then I blocked that number too, because forgiveness does not imply reconciliation, and boundaries do not make you cruel. They make you healthy. 3 years after I quit paying Dad's mortgage, I purchased my first home. Nothing large, 4 bedrooms and a decent yard. I held a housewarming party. Jake arrived, Melissa arrived, Hannah brought Lily with Amanda's consent. Surprisingly, some coworkers and new acquaintances knew me for who I was rather than what I could supply. Jake made a toast. To Ryan, who realized that the best investment isn't in other people's homes. It is within yourself. Everyone cheered. Lily drew me aside. I'm proud of you, Uncle Ryan. Thank you, youngster. I'm proud of you too. For what? For being courageous enough to seek the truth. I learned that from you. You taught me that sometimes stepping away is the most powerful thing you can do. I looked at this now 11-year-old who had figured out what it had taken me 30 years to master. You're going to be fine, Lily. Better than okay. So are you. And you know what? She was correct, because I had ceased being a wallet and became a person, and it made all the difference.